This is a scene from Oldboy, one of the most popular and widely known South Korean movies. Since it came out in 2003, it has been a gateway to Korean cinema for many people. In this video, I will talk about its history dating back to 1919. At this time, Korea was under Japanese rule. Foreign movies began to arrive in the region, but the Japanese military maintained strict control over the content. Korean narrators translated the movies for the audience, and if Japanese soldiers weren't present, the narrators would instead engage in political criticism and satire. The first Korean movie was produced in 1919, but it wasn't a real movie. The Righteous Revenge was actually a kinodrama, which means a motion picture was projected as a background for live actors on stage. The kinodrama was short-lived, and 1924 saw Korea's first actual silent movie, The Story of CHUNG-HEE in Hungarian. It was based on a Korean folktale about two sisters and their evil stepmother. It was remade many times, including 2003. The first Korean talkie was The Story of Chang-Yang in 1935. It is a classical love story between people from different social classes, and it was remade many times. But with the advent of the talkies came even more censorship and restrictions from the Japanese colonizers. The government required all movies to be submitted to a censorship board for approval before being screened. As a consequence, during the Japanese occupation, only 157 movies were produced. Most have been cut, changed, destroyed or badly archived, and none can be found in their original form. After Japan's defeat in World War II, Korea enjoyed a brief period of creative expression. Their new liberty became a common topic of movies. For example, Viva Freedom from 1946 depicted freedom fighters near the end of the colonial age. However, the Korean War broke out a few years later and very few movies were produced. Most of the cinema infrastructure was destroyed.
Truce talks were resumed. Encouraged, the world listened for news of the final signing that would mean ceasefire in Korea.
After the ceasefire, the new South Korean president, Syngman Rhee, wanted to rejuvenate the film industry by exempting it from taxes. Movies were still heavily censored and focused on nationalism, but the number of productions skyrocketed, going from 6 in 1953 to 111 in 1959. The 1955 remake of The Story of Chang-Yang was the country's first blockbuster. The Housemaid from 1960 is an important film from this era, and it's considered as one of the best Korean movies of all time. It was remade in 2010. In 1961, Aimless Bullet told the story of a poor accountant struggling to support his family after the war.
In first pictures from Seoul following the pre-dawn military coup that overthrew the South Korean government, troops guard public buildings in the early hours of martial law proclaimed by the army junta that took over the country.
Park Chung-hee's military coup in 1961 and the subsequent dictatorship government put an end to South Korea's cinematic renaissance. The motion picture law was enacted, limiting the number of imported and produced movies. The number of domestic production companies was also limited and went down from 71 to just 16 in 1 year. Films about illegal subjects like communism, obscenity, or topics that could harm the country's image were also censored. Government quotas were meant to lower foreign sales and stimulate national capital by producing domestic movies. In 1973, the Korean Motion Picture Corporation was established to further support this goal. However, they mainly focused on politically pleasing movies that would push the government's agenda. These films were viewed as propaganda and were unpopular with audiences. Television also became widely accessible, which contributed to low box office. Notable 70s movies include Insect Woman, Road to Sampo, and March of Fools. With the assassination of Park Chung-hee and the Gwangju Uprising, the late 70s and early 80s saw a period of rapid political change. The government started to reduce its control over the film industry, which began to prosper as a result. The motion picture law was revised, allowing independent movies to be produced, and a new generation of filmmakers entered the industry. Korean movies were increasingly recognized abroad, and in 1987, Kang Soo-yeon won Best Actress at the Venice Film Festival for the movie Surrogate Mother. However, the revised law also opened up the market to foreign films and production companies, and for the first time, Korean films had to compete on equal terms with Hollywood and Hong Kong. Their market share plummeted, reaching its lowest point in 1993 when Korean movies earned only 16% of the box office. The only protection against foreign competition was the screen quota system, which made screening domestic movies for up to 146 days out of the year mandatory for theaters. In 1992, Marriage Story became the first movie financed by a chaebol, a corporate conglomerate. In this case, it was Samsung, which financed 25% of the movie. Other chaebols included Daewoo and Hyundai, and this financing scheme transformed the film business into a vertically integrated system. For the first time, the financing, production, exhibition, distribution, promotion, and home video release of a movie was all controlled by a single company. Many of these chaebols dropped out after the late 90s Asian financial crisis, but some still remain. Around this time, a new government strategy sought to turn Korea's cultural and media production into an export commodity. Korean cinema and music, referred to as K-pop, began expanding into new markets. As a result, film sales grew exponentially. Then Shiri came out in 1999 and changed everything. It was about a spy from North Korea trying to overthrow the government. It was one of the first big-budget action movies and became an unprecedented box office success. Since then, Korea has entered a boom period that emphasizes quality, cultural significance, and popularity, also known as the Korean New Wave. With help from the screen quota, movies like Shiri, Silmido, and Joint Security Area sold more tickets domestically than Titanic, The Matrix, or Harry Potter. In 2003, Oldboy became a hit that opened up interest for Korean movies, especially in the United States, where it was unsuccessfully remade 10 years later. In 2006, the screen quota was cut to 73 mandatory days, but the industry has still continued to grow, repeatedly surpassing sales from previous years. Along with ticket sales, the film industry also enjoys critical acclaim from international festivals. Oasis won second prize at the Venice Film Festival in 2002. Oldboy came in second at Cannes. Kim Ki-duk won Best Director at the Berlin Festival for Samaritan Girl, and he won the Silver Lion in Venice for Free Iron. In 2012, he became the first Korean to win the Venice Film Festival for Pieta. Just this year, Lee Chang-dong won at Cannes for his thriller Burning. In recent years, Korean directors such as Park Chan-wook, Bong Joon-ho, or Kim Ji-woon broke through to Hollywood and made their English-language debuts. Thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please hit subscribe.